I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Welcome to it, Ted's on Joe Thomas in the morning, and it is a Microsoft Update Wednesday. These are always so much fun and frolic because you don't quite realize, and I guess just as a matter of humanity, we should audit ourselves every now and then, unless you're the Federal Reserve, and then shh. Remember the audit the Fed? Always sounded so much like audit the Fed, but and maybe rightfully so. But your life deserves an audit every now and then, and certainly an audit of how many pieces of technology you wire your day through. Probably is something you should go through, but not at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to put everything together. Or for our friends in Arizona, 1 o'clock in the morning when this was going on to me, because Microsoft kept saying, you need to restart this computer. Or the more fun moments, and I'm reminded of a wonderful Tom Papa line from his stand-up routine. To me, a good day is when I can remember my passwords and usernames, because that's the fun and frolic you may face this morning, boys and girls. You'll hit a computer that you haven't rebooted in. Kamala Harris may not have been the nominee the last time you rebooted some of these computers. And, gee, what is the password? And if you work in information technology for any sort of size of a company, expect phone calls. And unfortunately, today isn't the day where, okay, unplug the computer, count to 10, and plug it back in. Is not going to be sufficient, because that's what's happened to all these computers. Is they've rebooted, Windows has updated to some level or another, and now you're sitting there saying, what the hell? What is my username? What is the password? And of course, every security expert tells you, don't they, that you should have different passwords for everything, so that somebody figures out one password, the name of your childhood dog with an asterisk at the end of it or something like that. They can't get into everything you own, just that one piece of kit. Oh, no. And of course, that makes it. This is why my friends at the Learning RX are so much fun. You may not know. I've gone through the Learning RX program. I had a bad case of CRS. I realized after I did the program, I did chemotherapy years ago, and a dear friend of mine who ran one of the local Learning RX programs said, I'm going to give you as a friend, a run through the program, because I'm concerned that you're going to have chemo brain. And we need your brain firing on all cylinders, Joe, every morning. So I said, sure, I'll go through it. And one of the first things I realized is it was a realization as to why I was so bad at memorization classes in school. I mean, I was horrible typing. I couldn't type. This is the only class I ever failed. Spanish. Oh, my gosh. Math. I couldn't remember the problems. I could do the problems if I could remember them. And then when they did me through there's a process they go through to figure out what it is that's causing your particular bout with CRS. What? For the sake of public consumption, can't remember stuff. Okay. And I was a revelation. I think I was 50 years old at the time, and when the program finished the assessment, they said, well, you just have this horribly slow processing. They said, you're trying to run at the time, I think it was Windows 7 on a computer that was first designed for Windows 3.1. So you have this little tiny processing speed. So we're going to work out your processing speed. And it is what it is. It's like a brain workout, really. And I learned to hate metronomes, and I learned to get frustrated that I couldn't do my 5 times table because the little thing tick, 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 trying to keep up with it. But I got better, and I got better, and I got to remember things that I never used to be able to remember, like all the passwords to my computers. Or at very least, I remember where they are. See, that's the other little thing. Where did I put all these things? Anyway, apropos of nothing, I'm just prepping you, since you're there and your coffee maker probably hasn't hit a critical restart unless your coffee maker is run by Microsoft, in which case we need to talk. And blessed, I called a fella that we work with in the satellite company. He's like, oh, no, everything we use is on Linux. I'm like, oh, I love these people. They're all on Linux. Put your red hat on and have a dance. Anyway, so we got lots and lots and lots to get into. The cabinet appointments, quell the nasty rumors. No, I have not been called to serve on anyone's cabinets. The pending lawsuits against me probably are in the way of that. Although with Trump, who, gee, Joe, you're being sued by somebody. Oh, no. Well, so's Trump. So, I mean, it's not like he can sit there and say, no, he can't go to the FCC. He's got court proceedings. That's the one administration where that's never going to be an issue. But no, I am not leaving to join the administration, though it seems like everyone else is. Marco Rubio's nominated for say, and understand this is like when you and your buddies get together and do your fantasy football team. These are all the people Donald Trump wants. What Chuck Schumer allows to happen is going to be a whole different thing. Although Senator Gillibrand was remarkably interesting. She said on TV yesterday, I want Trump to come to New York. I'm going to give him a tour of all the tech facilities in New York State and everything. I said, well, look at that. Look at you go. Morning Consult has done some interesting analysis into the Gen Z and their turnout for Trump. I've watched it myself as parent of many. One's a Gen Xer, and his younger siblings tease him about that. The Huckabee to Israel and Pete Hegseth to the Pentagon. We're going to talk about that with a veterans activist who's worked closely with Pete Hegseth on a bunch of things. Recess appointment history. We're going to get into that. The Virginia teachers are losing their collective bowel control under the banner of, they're going to come for us. I will remind the teachers of Virginia that there is a radio program that routinely reads from the great World War II era poem, First They Came for the Trade Unionists. And I said nothing because I wasn't a trade unionist. Martin Niemöller is always applicable in this day and age anyway. Well, it is, of course, part of the disband the Department of Education movement. That's growing. We reached out to our friends from Moms for Liberty because they've been calling for some time now. The fake electors case, God, they just send me these things because I think Alexa heard me say that I hate the phrase fake electors. Now I get dozens of emails about fake electors. The Arizona case, the judge has bailed. Governor Youngkin continues to get asked, are you concerned that the president hasn't nominated you for anything? Now it's a smack against Youngkin. Oh, Youngkin can't be all that good. He hasn't been nominated to a cabinet. Oh, and guess who's coming? Tropical storm Sarah coming just in time for the holidays in Florida. Have you cleaned? Oh, speaking of Florida, Mike Haradopoulos is going to visit with us later this morning.
You see a huge group of people and maybe they're in line to do something and they seem happy about it. You have to wonder, okay, what am I missing? What's going on here? What are these people excited about? Well, in this case, it's thousands of people and they're joining Medi-Share. Why? Well, Medi-Share is a much more affordable alternative to health insurance. It's reliable, too. It's a well-run community of Christians. They've been sharing each other's medical expenses for more than 30 years, so it's proven. And if you switch, you'll likely save hundreds of dollars a month. Most members wind up paying about half what they used to. And you know what? They find like it better. Medi-Share's member satisfaction rate is 98%. That's way better than health insurance, as you might imagine. You don't have to pay for things you don't believe in. You get telehealth 24/7, huge freedom in choosing your doctors. At least check into it. This may be one of those things where you're like, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Why not start saving now? Call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
fuel additives.
Most fuel additives either impact performance or provide protection. Hot Shot Secret Everyday Diesel Treatment provides both performance enhancement and fuel system protection. Everyday Diesel Treatment delivers a 6-in-1 premium fuel treatment for every fill-up, every time.
Everyday Diesel Treatment is available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at hotshotsecret.com.
Considered by most, optimized curcumin is one of the few bioavailable and highly absorbable curcumin products on the market. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch. Since most chronic diseases have inflammation, our optimized curcumin seems to be a perfect addition to any nutritional program. It makes sense to me that preventing or reducing inflammation is a key component to our overall health. The Mayo Clinic found that curcumin can decrease swelling and inflammation, has antioxidant properties, and research suggests that curcumin can prevent cancer, or at least slow the spread of cancer, and in many instances make chemotherapy more effective. It protects our healthy cells even from radiation. TotalWellness.com, where we help you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Hey, this is Brant along with Sherry here. And so you hear me doing these spots for MediShare, and Sherry actually helps me with them. I get people actually in person saying, okay, Brant, for real, do you recommend this? Like, yeah, for real, I actually do. I'm not just saying stuff. Family, friends ask me about it. I'm like, yes, you should look into this. It's really a great option for a lot of people.
That's what I tell people my experience has been. MediShare has been fantastic for me.
Yeah.
It's so different from health insurance in a lot of great ways, honestly.
Yeah, and a lot of people who've switched tell me that. It's the same reaction. They're very, very happy with it, and it gives them peace of mind and saves them a lot of money.
I would tell people, look into it.
Yep. So really, for reals, if you want to talk to them, they're great to talk to. I think you'll be impressed and happy you looked into it. So you do the phone number. I'm actually tired of doing all the phone numbers.
Okay.
Call now.
855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Time for our sports director, Mac McDonald, to catch us up on what he's working on this morning. Mac?
Okay, Joe, thank you. Here are the stories we are following on this Wednesday, presented by Automated Office Systems, simple systems and solutions. Log on to aoscorp.net. Don't look now, but the Cleveland Cavaliers are 12-0, and tonight, gun for another win in Philly. Monday night, Donovan Mitchell scored 36. The Cavs came from 9 down in the third to knock off the Chicago Bulls. The Cavs are the 8th team in NBA history to begin a year 12-0, and in case you're counting, the record for a season-opening winning streak, 24 by the 2015 Golden State Warriors. Some football coaches just can't handle losing. Take Syracuse head man Ron Brown. After his team was beaten by Boston College at Alumni Stadium by 6 and outrushed by 274 yards, Coach Brown admitted losing in that fashion does not deserve anything nice, like using soap in a post-game shower the next day.
Honestly, I got like a ritual. Like when we lose, I ain't even getting a shower till early this morning. I just be mad. I just brush my teeth. But it's like I don't deserve soap. I don't deserve to do all that. I'm just focused on like trying to get back and trying to make sure that our players mentally understand and know that I let them down, that they didn't do it.
The Cuse is 6-3 and travels to Cal this weekend. More on this story later today, but WNBA Rookie of the Year Caitlin Clarke is enjoying the warm Florida sun this week, participating in the Annika LPGA event. The basketball phenom loves the game and the competition.
Played when I was a little kid, started golfing with my dad, but then I didn't play much all throughout high school and then kind of started again in college. I obviously am pretty busy, so I don't get a golf as much as I would like. But I love to do it when I can get out. I love to go. Some other people on our team play, so that's fun.
The tournament is in Bel Air, Florida, near Clearwater at the Pelican Golf Club. Clarke is holding a presser today and will play in the Pro-Am on Wednesday. The event is highlighting girls and women in sports. That's our update for this hour, presented by Automated Office Systems.
10 years ago, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
Joe Thomas in the morning, and Pete Hegseth to the Pentagon. You know, what I find interesting is as I watch the coverage of this, and I'm going through all the news stories regarding Pete Hegseth nominated as Defense Secretary, much in the way they seem to treat Donald Trump as if he's only a TV actor and has never done anything before he took a job on TV. And maybe this is a lesson for you kids. When the TV company comes around and says, would you like a TV show? Understand that's all you're ever going to be remembered as. Whatever you've accomplished, whatever you had done prior to being on TV. It's a Mark Cuban, same thing, if you want to be bipartisan about it. Most people have no idea what Mark Cuban did before he sat down on Shark Tank, and probably most people don't know why he's the guy, one of the panelists on Shark Tank. There's like, I don't know. So, one of the people who's worked closely with Pete Hegseth on veterans issues concerned veterans of America is our great veterans activist, Big John Miska. And he texted me this morning. He said, what are your thoughts on this? And I said, I hadn't really formulated any, but I know you have some on your years with him, and you've continued to stay in contact with him since then. John, how are you doing this morning, sir?
Well, I tell you this, I'm getting ready to contact the national leadership of VFW and American Legion because they opposed Pete when it was proposed that he head up the VA at one time.
Wow.
And I tell you, right now, I think Trump has made an excellent choice because here it is. We have a proven warrior.
Now
we have a warrior.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We have a warrior who knows warriors. Right now, I doubt that Secretary Austin knows more than a couple of PFCs who'd work directly for him. I'm sure that Secretary Austin doesn't know the problems of a guy in Killeen, Texas, who's in the Army, who's trying to pay a mortgage, who's getting food stamps for his kids because his pay doesn't cover the meals for his kids. Pete knows these things as well. Pete holds a CIB.
Hang on, catch me up on the acronyms. I know FUBAR and SNAFU, but I don't know. What is CI?
Combat Infantry Badge.
Okay, all right. So he's seen things go pear-shaped.
Yes, he has. And I tell you, if anybody wonders about Pete Hegseth, look up the interview he did with 6 combat veterans, to include Morgan Luttrell, David Bellavia, and others. Now, Morgan's brother is the one they made the movie about, Marcus Luttrell. And Morgan is now in Congress from Texas. Pete moves in great circles.
Well, and Pete was in Congress as well. I mean, he knows both sides of this equation. He knows how the sausage gets made as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, have you ever noticed, if you ever watch Pete on TV, he has his smartphone with him. Sometimes when he's on the air, I will text him. Like most recently, this weekend, they were talking about greatest sandwiches in America. They had chicken salad. They had grilled cheese, etc., peanut butter and jelly. And I texted Pete. I was, WTF, Pete? What about BLTs? And he texted me right back. Good point.
You see? So now if you were watching Fox and Friends and Pete all of a sudden brought up BLTs, it was Big John that got that in there. So you talk about understanding the servicemen.
Yes.
We talked about this. This Veterans Day weekend, passed, and to me, the most important thing to pay honor to a serviceman or woman is to make sure that you're not putting them in places they shouldn't be, and that when you say you're going to go into the excrement, it's for a good reason. Do you think Pete's that kind of guy?
I think Pete is the guy that will have the utmost concern for the lives of American service members. He will not have a disdain that we have seen at the upper echelons of military leadership to date during this administration.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Hegseth will spend the currency of American blood dearly.
What about the veterans, the ones when they come back? I don't know the purview. I know Veterans Affairs is a different branch, but does the Secretary of Defense have any, sway in how veterans and because I know President Trump version 1 did quite a bit towards opening up better health care options for veterans. What about Hegseth and what about that position?
Well, there are programs now that have come about because of the 20 years of warfare to help with transition, DOD, exit strategies, where veterans, soon to be veterans, are advised as to government programs, things that are going on, how to reintegrate with civilian society. All of these things now, there's a whole out process when you get out of the military, whereas when I got out here, goodbye, don't let the door hit you.
Yeah. What about... And I know, and like I said, this is sort of, and I get why everyone's excited about it, but it's a little bit like people picking out their fantasy football teams. I don't know if he's going to get everyone. I just realized we're coming up on our 6:30 news, our bottom of the hour news. Big John, can you hang on a second? Because I want your thoughts. Yeah, because he's faced congressional grilling before. So I want to give you a moment on that as well when we come back, talking about Pete Hegseth, for Defense Secretary, nominated by President Trump off the set of Fox and Friends, but he did some stuff before that as well.
Since 1941, ordinary American citizens have been serving their communities nationwide as a member of the Civil Air Patrol, the official auxiliary of the United States Air Force. Answering the call to volunteer nationwide with 1,500 squadrons across 52 wings and our pilots flying more than 112,000 hours annually. And you can answer the call to volunteer. Become an everyday hero every day. As a member of the Civil Air Patrol, find a unit near you at GoCivilAirPatrol.com.
Crime across the country is at an all-time high. It feels like even a family road trip is taking a risk. We don't want the feeling of being unprotected and vulnerable. We found GetCCL.com. GetCCL.com gave us the help we needed to apply for a legal concealed carry permit that's recognized in over half of the country. GetCCL.com simplifies the process to apply, and it's all online. We used their free qualification process to answer a few questions and applied for our permit right from home. Thanks to reciprocity laws between states, when you're issued a New Hampshire concealed carry permit, you can legally carry in any state that recognizes your New Hampshire permit. It only takes minutes to apply, so don't wait. Exercise your rights today. Ensure you're protecting your family at home and in other states. Have peace of mind. Apply today. Go to GetCCL.com. That's GetCCL.com. Go to GetCCL.com. Exercise your rights today. Go to GetCCL.com.
Increase fuel economy up to 7.9% with Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme. The solution to maximize your engine's performance and fuel economy. Whether you're driving a sports car or a daily commuter, Gasoline Extreme is specially formulated with PEA to deep clean. Don't settle for an average driving experience. Upgrade to Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme and go further on each tank. Order now on Amazon or HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
Considered by most, optimized curcumin is one of the few bioavailable and highly absorbable curcumin products on the market. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch. Since most chronic diseases have inflammation, our optimized curcumin seems to be a perfect addition to any nutritional program. It makes sense to me that preventing or reducing inflammation is a key component to our overall health. The Mayo Clinic found that curcumin can decrease swelling and inflammation, has antioxidant properties, and research suggests that curcumin can prevent cancer, or at least slow the spread of cancer, and in many instances make chemotherapy more effective. It protects our healthy cells even from radiation. TotalWellness.com, where we help you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Hi everybody, I'm Jack Hanna. Since I was a boy growing up on a farm in Tennessee, I've been fascinated with animals. I'm not only in awe of their beauty and kindness, but also their tireless work ethic. Just look at the birds who gather supplies to build nests, or Swiss foxes who work hard to provide for their young, or penguins who travel up to 500 miles to secure food for their families, or bush babies whose impressive jump allows them to navigate the trees in the wild in search of fruit. This remarkable work ethic is shared by our best friends, the canines. We know dogs are wonderful pets at home, but because of their acute senses, they also perform life-saving work every day. Dogs keep us safe at airports. They comfort returning veterans, some of whom suffer from PTS. They work with diabetics, alerting them when there's a change in their blood chemistry. Working dogs have a variety of highly trained roles that contribute to society and help those in need. So please join me and American Humane in supporting our heroic working dogs and all the amazing animals on this planet we inhabit together. Go to AmericanHumane.org to learn more.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Did you know that more than half our household energy costs go to heating and cooling? Energy efficiency isn't just good for the environment. It means lower utility bills, too. One way to reduce your energy waste is a home energy assessment. Your utility company can help, or you can learn how to do it yourself at EnergySavers.gov. That's EnergySavers.gov. You'll learn to look for air leaks around windows and doors, check ducts for holes, and improve your insulation. Another time to cut energy costs is when you shop for a new appliance. Look for the Energy Star logo and read the Energy Guide label. And there are day-to-day things you can do. Lower your thermostat in winter and raise it in the summer. Close fireplace dampers when they're not in use. And keep air filters clean. For more tips on saving money by reducing your energy waste, check out ftc.gov/green. A tip from the Federal Trade Commission, the nation's consumer protection agency.
As a family member or friend, you may be the first to notice when a veteran you love has been going through changes. Things like withdrawing, drinking more, or increased anger could be a sign of a larger health concern. But help is available. Listen to hundreds of inspiring stories at maketheconnection.net and learn how you can support the veterans in your life. Treatment works. Recovery is possible.
Not politicians. Joe Thomas in the morning, live from America's hometown.
Joe Thomas here, as the man said, 434-882-4217. That's the phone number. You can also text message to that number. You can also email jtinthemorningradio@gmail.com, talking about the spate of these nominations. And again, there's a certain amount of well, yeah, I want so-and-so on my fantasy football team. What happens in the Senate is going to be a different matter once the confirmation hearings start going. But I think this is smart. I don't recall 2016 President Trump doing this. I think there was a reasonable amount of we won? What? Going on, and there's been testimony to that case as well, that the Republicans in the House and Senate claim that the reason they never did anything for President Trump was they didn't expect to win. Well, okay, that explains the first hour you didn't do anything. What about all the ones subsequent to that? One of the great veterans activists and change makers in veterans care in Virginia, Big John Miska, is on with us. He's worked closely with Pete Hegseth in the Concerned Veterans for America, and still remains close with him. And we were talking about the veterans themselves, the treatment of the availability of treatment for veterans, but also, within the military, Big John, veterans need to also, as they're exiting service, I know too many veterans who will turn down therapy sessions out of concern that it becomes a permanent mark on their record, infringing and curtailing their free speech. We watched Brandon Raub get rousted from his home because a buddy of his posted some lyrics to a metal song on his Facebook page, sent to a mental institution for months until John Whitehead was able to get him out at the Rutherford Institute, via the Rutherford Institute. So there are real concerns among soldiers that when they finish their tour, they don't ask for the help they may feel like they need. Do you think Pete can help heal that?
Well, Pete will be military, not Veterans Administration. Now, they're two sides of the same coin. Now, so far as the military, with the programs the military now has in place for reintegration to society, the briefings, the mandatory out processing that the military has when you leave the military, they're not just dumping veterans onto the VA like they used to. The VA, on the other hand, depending on who comes in with the VA, we had 9,000 pieces of dead wood rehired under the Biden administration at a cost of some $100 million or more for pay and benefits of people who were fired under Trump when Trump was cleaning house at the VA.
Yeah,
now,
that's bad.
So with Pete, I think on the military side of the coin, he will do a wonderful job because of his concern for the individual soldiers.
Right.
Now, I can't think of any secretary of the Department of Defense that we have had whose reach goes down to that private, to that junior airman, to that, seaman apprentice, but his reach, because of him being a mid-level. Now, he was not, he hasn't made major yet, has he? He's not field grade.
No,
he's still a captain, but, his track record, though, I finally found it. On July 1st, 2010, he testified to the Judiciary Committee against the nomination of Justice Kagan. And the reasons he laid out are some of the same reasons that, we've had a flip in America. And this is in 2010 when he was laying these things out.
Yeah, I have the video. I just needed to kind of catch to the, because these congressional hearings, it's 5 minutes of a congressman making a floor speech and then, phrasing it at the end saying, what do you think of that? It's very little, you got to jump ahead to get to Pete's part.
I don't think you'll find Pete pontificating like a senator or a congressman. Pete is a man of action. Pete does things. In my experience supporting the troops at Walter Reed in a conversation at Kirkpatrick's one night. It was, we need to take care of these guys that we send to war. Now, and that was back then.
And that includes sending them, not sending them willy-nilly into places just because, it helps sell some more airplanes either. I mean, we talk about the meat grinder. Trump's already called Putin and Zelensky about the battle in Ukraine. Netanyahu has mentioned that he was he congratulated Trump on his victory and sort of acted like, I've got other worries on my hands right now. But it doesn't sound like Trump is going to be Mr. Interventionist, not that he was in the first term either.
Well, when you say intervention, I tell you this, when the Houthis fire on a U.S. carrier in international waters, we won't just sit there and take it. We will respond immediately and with force.
Oh yeah, no, without question. Ask the recipients of the mother of all bombs, when the Moab was dropped, and people got a message really quickly from the administration. But I think understanding that the Pentagon is a bureaucracy just like the Department of Education is, or the EPA is, I think is going to be Pete Hegseth's biggest upside, don't you?
Well, I believe that Pete Hegseth will have the backing of those people who also carry the trunks. That he will have the backing of the lower ranking enlisted. He will be probably the most popular sec defense we have had and the most effective.
Well, that's great testimony, Big John. You doing okay, sir? How has your week been? I know Veterans Week is always busy for you. You've got a lot of events and things like that. I know your friends at Project Healing Waters just did a thing in the Shenandoah National Forest. And that's a great program as well.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of the shelters are doing free adoptions for veterans as well. How are you doing otherwise?
Well, I tell you this, it would be nice that if people could realize this, that we did not do this to get free stuff. Mm-hmm. We served mostly because our nation needed us.
Amen.
And our nation does need us. And the fact that people now are recognizing that need, I am grateful for. But I didn't do it for free stuff.
Oh, sure. And a lot of it is just medical care that they were talking about covering the co-pays for telehealth and some of the things that they're trying to do to make it easier to access the health care even more so and less costly. Big John, it's always good to catch up with you, my friend, and you hang in there, buddy.
Yes, I think Pete's a wonderful choice.
All right. Well, there's one vote for Pete. Now, if we just turned that into a popular election, we'd be going somewhere. We'll come back. 434-882-4217. Much more. Marco Rubio. I've reached out to his co-chair in the Senate Intel Committee about that. We'll see if I get a response.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration.
How tired are you of mainstream corporate media's biased narratives and manipulated news? Their dishonesty and attempts to influence this generation have been exposed, put on display for anyone who's even half paying attention. But the New American Magazine has been an honest source of news and commentary for over 50 years. This is your opportunity to receive the stalwart of principled journalism at a deep discount. Picture a beautifully published magazine arriving at your doorstep every 2 weeks, packed with insightful stories written with integrity. It's also available digitally on the New American's mobile app. Get up to speed with intelligent coverage from a freedom perspective. Right now, for a limited time, the New American is available to radio listeners at a 25% discount on a new subscription. Visit thenewamerican.com/radio25 and receive 25% off. Subscribe today at thenewamerican.com/radio25.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Here's the number you need. 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Considered by most, optimized curcumin is one of the few bioavailable and highly absorbable curcumin products on the market. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch. Since most chronic diseases have inflammation, our optimized curcumin seems to be a perfect addition to any nutritional program. It makes sense to me that preventing or reducing inflammation is a key component to our overall health. The Mayo Clinic found that curcumin can decrease swelling and inflammation, has antioxidant properties, and research suggests that curcumin can prevent cancer, or at least slow the spread of cancer, and in many instances make chemotherapy more effective. It protects our healthy cells even from radiation. TotalWellness.com, where we help you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Did you know that more than half our household energy costs go to heating and cooling? Energy efficiency isn't just good for the environment. It means lower utility bills, too. One way to reduce your energy waste is a home energy assessment. Your utility company can help, or you can learn how to do it yourself at EnergySavers.gov. That's EnergySavers.gov. You'll learn to look for air leaks around windows and doors, check ducts for holes, and improve your insulation. Another time to cut energy costs is when you shop for a new appliance. Look for the Energy Star logo and read the Energy Guide label. And there are day-to-day things you can do. Lower your thermostat in winter and raise it in the summer. Close fireplace dampers when they're not in use. And keep air filters clean. For more tips on saving money by reducing your energy waste, check out ftc.gov/green. A tip from the Federal Trade Commission, the nation's consumer protection agency.
For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength.
Joe Thomas in the morning. Thank you for letting us be of service to you on this Tedsday morning, where we celebrate the idea of we all have an inner Tedness in us, and that is, of course, defined by this program only. That you first and foremost, and this is the hard part of grappling with your inner Ted, is figuring out what it is that God has gifted you to do. That could be play guitar. Most of us, it's not, present company included. But whatever it is, God has gifted you with some gift or talent. Some of us multiple, but sorting that out is generally what we call childhood. But by the time you reach adulthood, if you don't know, that's okay. Sun's just going to be coming up, so you have a whole day to figure it out, and days that follow. But figure out what it is God has gifted you to do. School up into it so you're expert. Apply that gift to a grateful constituency that rewards you justly, and you don't have to worry about what all the nattering nabobs of negativism say about you. 434-882-4217, where you're basking in the glow of the amplitude or frequency modulation, or whatever it is that modulates through the internet. Good morning, Dr. Clarke. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Joe, and yourself?
Well, so far, so good. Am I wrong about this whole last week of presidential cabinet picks has been sort of like listening to somebody say, yeah, I want Tom Brady on my fantasy football team, because I know the Senate confirmation hearings are going to be a whole different thing unless they get recess appointments, which is going to be a whole other matter, and that'll set off the time bomb that is the MSNBC anchors even more.
Well, you know, I look at these things and I have my level of understanding, Joe. And then I spent about 30 or 40 minutes this morning at Conservative Treehouse looking at what Sundance said, and she has a much deeper understanding than I do. Wow, there's a lot of 3D chess going on. You know, you move this guy here, you create an opening here that this person would like to have, and if we move him, then we can get this person in the position he was in, which solidifies things a whole lot. There's just a lot more to it than the casual newsreader probably has a comprehension of.
Well, and we see this. Katie Britt has already put her name in the hat for Florida Senate. We've watched several people. We were just talking to one jockeying for a Senate position in Virginia over some of the new Congress people being elected, but also we're watching whether or not some of the people who didn't win. And yet, funny, every time I see Glenn Youngkin in front of press, they're always saying, does it bother you you haven't been pegged for something yet, sir? I mean, it's either you're damned if you do or damned if you don't. And in some cases, it's rewarding people. The question that I was asked earlier this morning is does Carrie Lake from Arizona get something? I was joking about being called to the FCC. I'm the one person that hasn't been called to be in the Trump administration yet. But somebody then picked up on that and said, what about Carrie Lake to the FCC? It could be. She's been in a career in broadcasting. She has some idea of what it's like on the street level. But this always happens. It's what does Chuck Schumer try to hold up in the Senate when it finally gets there? That's going to be the interesting thing. And does it drag on until September or October of next year and really kind of hamstring the 100 days and even the first year of the Trump administration, which may not even have a budget to deal with because they'll do this continual resolution that'll go until September or October of next year.
Yeah, just a lot going on. Hey, yesterday we talked about the FEMA supervisor bypassing houses in Florida if they had Trump signs, Trump flags, any indication that they may be a Trump supporter.
Right, that we were told was a conspiracy theory, unproven, and now the FEMA has been relieved of that particular duty. I think we discussed, yes.
Well, so here's the really interesting thing. Now, I don't know how to pronounce the lady's first name. Can we just call her Washington?
Okay.
All right. So Washington has said that Washington told her to bypass the Trump supporters. So I guess right now what she's saying is, I was only following orders. We've heard that before somewhere, Joe.
Yeah, that didn't stop the Nuremberg folks. Weren't you going to nominate a town in Alabama to be renamed Nuremberg?
I want a place in Alabama. I want Nuremberg, Alabama, Joe. It can't be done in D.C. It won't work with D.C. juries. It needs to be an Alabama jury.
Oh boy, yeah, I was going to say, there's, there are a few states in the world I want to be in a courtroom in, but you say Alabama juries, yeah, no, they're not going to treat kindly to there. But so, and this is, I was just following orders, and you know what that means? We know nothing's going to happen to the FEMA directorate in Washington. No, we've watched these hearings; they'll be called before Jim Jordan's committee, and they'll all ask the right questions, and the answers will be dodges, and then there'll be a, okay, so you're fired at the end of the term. Oops, you were going to be anyway. So I don't know what recompense there can be for this, except for the fact that there's still a whole bunch of homeowners in Florida who are taking the short end of the long stick.
Well, I hate to keep beating a dead mule, but we cannot go forward as a nation if we tolerate the weaponization of our federal agencies against the citizens of the country. We cannot do it. Like we talked about the other day, there's no doubt in my mind they would have done everything they could to jail Donald Trump if he had lost this election. They'd have tried to destroy Elon Musk. Every Trump supporter they would have gone after. And it wouldn't have been anything those people did that was a crime. It would be about setting examples and sending messages. Kneel before Zod. We can't go forward with this attitude in our government.
Oh, I know.
Something has to be done.
And I'd like to see, a Senate that does something about it. The contempt of Congress is great if you're a Trump supporter and you'll go spend some time in the Gray Bar Hotel in solitary, but not if you're a high-ranking bureaucracy official. I guess Criswell is the one that would face the scrutiny over it. But again, unless it's after January 6th, January 5th, when the new Congress gets sworn in, I don't see how any of these folks actually do a perp walk or find out what they look like in orange.
Well, yesterday, on my way home for lunch, on a terrestrial signal, I was listening to Bongino. And I heard the ABC News break, Joe. And they were talking about Trump appointments, and it'll be very interesting to see who he appoints to the director of the FBI and Attorney General, because people are talking about Trump prosecuting his political enemies. Isn't that an interesting way?
Yeah.
It's not Trump's political enemies. It's enemies of the people.
I've got the news coming up here, Dr. Clarke, but yeah, it's interesting how that turns around, doesn't it? We'll be right back.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Lisa Wolf here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you. And be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited time offer, so log on to 100